You're listening to episode 2 of THED Talks with Jimmy Chrisman. THED Talks is a podcast for theater teachers and theater education students. I'm Jimmy Chrisman, your host of THED Talks. I taught high school theater for 17 years in public schools, and now I'm currently a theater education professor at Illinois State University. Each week, I want to bring you stories and interviews from experienced K-12 theater teachers, current theater education majors, and professors of theater education that will warm your heart, renew your faith in teaching, and provide resources to better your practice in your theater classroom. Thank you so much for listening. On today's podcast, you're going to hear some of my thoughts and my stories of my experiences when I taught theater and currently what I'm doing now at Illinois State. If you have ideas for the show that you would like to hear us talk about, or you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email me at thedtalkspodcast@gmail.com. That's THEDTALKS podcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at TheaterEdTalks, on Tumblr at thedtalks.tumblr.com, Facebook at THED Talks, Instagram, THED Talks Podcast, and of course, you can always visit our website, www.thedtalks.com. So this week, my guest is Sasha Weinsz. Sasha and I taught together for a little while in South Carolina, and now she is currently teaching at Mallard Creek High School. Welcome to THED Talks, and I want to welcome my very first guest, Miss Sasha Weinsz, who is a high school theater teacher in North Carolina. Sasha, introduce yourself. Tell us how you're doing, what you've been working on, and kind of what you love about your school.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Sasha. I actually had the honor of having my first ever theater teaching job with Dr. James Chrisman, which was awesome. I am currently working at Mallard Creek High School, and we just closed Putnam County Spelling Bee, the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, and it was an actual marvel. It was my love child, this beautiful performance. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to send Jimmy the DVD. But it was an amazing experience, and it was so exciting because these kids didn't have a program really before I had gotten there. So I had told the kids that had gotten nominated for the Bloomies that they had been nominated, and I swear to God, it was like Christmas, New Year's, their birthday, and their wedding, and then their 50th anniversary all put together in one, and then times that by 50. I swear one of them almost peed herself. So they were just thrilled, and it was like that moment was like the solidifying moment, because recently it's been hard. It's been like almost 4 months without a break. So I'm in that slump where I'm like, I hate everything. And so that moment was like, okay, yeah, check, recheck, here we go, start over. We got to get going again.
Well, and we all go through that as theater teachers. Like, there's a point where you're like, I just need this show to be done. I love these children.
I didn't want Putnam to end. I loved every second of Putnam. It was doing Putnam and then being a teacher. I just wanted to do the after school stuff. I didn't want to put the time and focus and energy on anything else but that, if that made sense.
Well, talk a little bit about that. Talk about how you balance the two and still try to find that joy in the teaching as well. Because I know you love your kids. I see the Weinsz World Instagram posts, and I know you're so proud of them, and you're doing amazing things in your classes with them. So how do you keep that balance?
I'm lucky. Well, lucky being one way to put it, and not so lucky being one way to put it, that I am currently teaching 3 different preps. So my day is lively in regards to I'm not teaching the same thing every block over and over again, but it also loads the workload times like 50. So luckily it's not spread out for me. So like all of my tech theater is on one day. So I can bang out that lesson with tools on one day and not have to worry about it spreading out over a span of time, or having to take out the auditorium for too long, or having to overplan because one day is taking longer than the other, et cetera, et cetera. So that I'm very thankful for. I do too much, and I will admit that, and I am learning every moment of every day. Currently right now, where I'm happiest is in my career, so I enjoy spending the most time there, if that makes sense.
It does. I've lived much of my early adulthood in the theater building and in the school.
And so it's one of those things, and I was trying to explain it to my sister, for example, the other day, where I, on the weekend, will go to Starbucks or we'll go to the local coffee place, and I'll sit down with a script and I'll create and I'll sit there and I'll do that. And that's fun for me. Whereas, like somebody will go paint, or somebody will go play soccer. Like, that's what I like to do. So for me, like, it's always constant working. There's constant things going on. Like, I literally closed Putnam a week ago, and I'm already starting auditions next week for my next show. And it's just constant magic and constant things that are going on. And Melissa's like, well, why don't you just settle down? Why don't you just, like, take it easy? And I'm like, well, then what fun would it be? Like, what would I be doing? Like, I find joy in other things. Like, I could watch On My Block all day long, and I could do all the other things the kids tell me that I need to be doing. But that's where I, thrive. So that's where I'm happiest, if that makes sense, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It does. Yeah. Do you have anything outside of work or theater that you use as kind of an escape from that? Because I totally get the work, and I totally get the love for what you're doing. But after doing it for 17 years and not ever finding that balance until I quit teaching to go to higher education, I know now that I wish there were times that I had more of that outside of that.
Yeah, no.
And that's okay.
I really enjoy fashion. I really enjoy art. I make it a priority for myself, regardless of whether I actually, this is going to be pathetic and boring, and maybe you want to edit it out, but, like, I don't have a ton of friends, so plans, etc., are limited. So if I'm alone, I force myself to go out. So if I go out, it may be a rah-rah for me to get to the mall, and I walk around the mall. Or I will go to the Mint Museum now that I'm in Charlotte. Or I will try to go out to new places. Sometimes I'm not feeling it. I'm like every other theater person and have depression and anxiety. So I'm not feeling it, and I don't want to go out. So, it's baby steps for me. I'm learning, and it's good because each year it's getting better and better as we go. This year has been one of the best artistically charged years I've ever had, and the most collaborative years I've ever had, in ways that I've tried to learn and ways to focus on how to include people in what I'm doing and not just spearheading everything by myself. So I take things and I dive right in, and then realize, oh crud, what are you doing? You didn't think this through. So a lot of the times I carry a lot on my shoulders, but it's really good because I learn a lot from that. So I like to sink really, really hard and then swim really, really well the next year, if that makes sense.
It does. I do want to go back to what you just said, though. Okay. You said you're learning how to let others help share the load. Mm-hmm. Or you said something to that effect.
Yes.
And I totally get that. I freely admit that I'm a control freak, and letting someone else be responsible for something is very hard for me. Yes. And I think a lot of theater teachers are that way. So what are you learning with that process, and how are you learning that?
Well, and it's one of those things, like something as simple as one of my closest friends here, looked at me and said, "What do you need help with?" It was tech day. And I was like, "I need to glitter these shoes." And I didn't, and of course, typical Sasha fashion, didn't test what I was going to do beforehand. And I'm thinking, oh, Maj Podge, glitter, it'll work on these shoes. Well, they said to me, "Okay, all right, we'll figure this out." And I was like, "Are you sure? I mean, blah." And then they took charge and they went, and the shoes were perfect, and it was the perfect thing. And I got 25 other things done, and they were able to get all of the shoes Maj Podged and done, and it was perfect, and I didn't have to worry about a thing.
Well, because here's the thing. What our listeners may not know is that you and I worked together for a couple of years. And
it was the best years of my life.
we did. We had a wonderful time. But when
don't let him make it sound sarcastic. We had the best time of our lives.
I am not disagreeing with you. It was fantastic.
Okay, don't let it sound sarcastic.
I didn't mean to, if that's what it came across.
Best years.
No, but what I was saying
don't cut this out, James.
What I had a hard time letting go because it had been just me making everything happen for so many years, and you were the one we wanted to hire. You were the one I wanted to hire, and I was excited to have you, and I was excited to share the workload because it was a lot, and I had a hard time letting you go and sharing it. And I think it took some time to learn to trust you, and to know that you were good, and to know that you were there to support me. So I honestly think you actually helped me more than most anything in being able to do that better. I still don't think I was really good at it by the time I left South Point, but learning
you were good at it. You put on a very good face. I would never have known.
Well, I am glad. But I learning to trust parents of the booster club and other teachers who wanted to help, and being willing just to say, yes, please just run with it. And I appreciate it. Of course, in the end, it was fantastic and I loved it and it was wonderful, but it was really anxiety inducing. And to do that, but it was a good lesson to learn. So I thank you.
Well, coming in, hey, what can I do? Thank God I wasn't afraid to just be like, here I am.
Well, and you weren't. You jumped right in. You were like, what do you need done? I will do it.
Remember when you were like, do you mind going up on the lift?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I am terrified of heights. And Sasha came in the middle of us working on Aida for our spring musical. And so Sasha would come to rehearsals, she would sit beside me and give me feedback. And I had all these crazy tech ideas going through my head. Because I usually dream these ideas up a year before. And so I have a whole year that I'm planning and designing and figuring out what I want to do. And thank God you had been to Egypt before, because you had all this art history background that you brought into our set design. But these little lights, I wanted the entire back wall of the stage covered with these lights so that it looked like stars at night.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
It was beautiful, but I was not going up on that lift. I was not doing it. So here's Sasha. She's like, yeah, I'll do it. I know you were terrified. I know you were.
Little, but I just really wanted you to like me.
That thing went in the air and started shaking. So I know you were terrified, but I thank you every day for doing that, because you helped make that little dream of mine come true.
God, it was beautiful. And then Justin won Best Actor.
That 3-minute part of the show, it was worth it. So thank you.
Perfect. Every second. Oh my gosh.
Well, Sasha, tell me a little bit about the show you just finished, because I have been talking with you for a while, and I know how much you put into it and how much you were excited about doing it, and I know it turned out well. So just kind of talk to me about that.
As I mentioned a little bit earlier, Maude Creek High School they had a theater teacher that was great for quite a few years. Then I believe, from my understanding, they retired, and then another theater teacher entered, and he moved all theater performances to the daytime. So nothing was done in the evening time. Then the school got big enough, so they hired a second theater teacher. Well, unfortunately, I'm not sure why, but that position became a revolving door. So for various years, that second theater teacher position was usually the one that tried to do the things after school, because the other theater teacher would not do things after school. So I came in. The year before me, they did Once on This Island, which awesome, fabulous, great. Unfortunately, I don't believe there was a lot of people that turned up for it, so don't think a lot of people knew that we had a theater department. So that was my goal, is to get our name out there and to do something big. We did Sister Acts last year, and my oh my, was that just too much fun. And the people were like, yes, here we go. So here, we do not have a choir teacher. At a school.
That's a huge school.
In Charlotte, with 2,500 students, we do not have choir program. Now, this is not me poop talking my principal, so let's make that very clear, because I have a very perfect, wonderful, fabulous principal in every way. That is the district's decision, not his. So our orchestra teacher, bless his kind, beautiful, perfect soul, does all of our music. And he's there 2 days a week. So we have me, and then we have Mr. Matt Wilson. So we did this together, and I got, which I was so excited about. So since the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee is a very fun, pretty much one set show, we decided obviously it's based in a school. We decided we were going to do it in a library. We were going to switch it up a little bit, because we didn't really have the means to do a gym. We didn't have the right kind of stage. We didn't have the right ability to get to the right equipment and the bleachers, et cetera, et cetera. But what we did have was a lot of wood that we could turn into flats, that we could turn into the library, and it worked more with what we already had. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened that the library was getting rid of tons of books last year. So inspiration, boom. And with Sister Act the year before, we had a disco ball. It was a match made in heaven. So we decided to do 25th annual. So the show typically is only, I think, like 8 characters, 10 total. We ended up casting 20, I believe, which was pretty cool. So we ended up casting an ensemble. So the ensemble sang in every single song, just like the spellers. They were there to assist in choreography or with props that came flying out of nowhere. They would ride on scooters and from different places. They would bring props in. They would help with costume changes on stage. So essentially they were the janitors / the adult supervisors of the group. And they also were like siblings, so they jumped around to a bunch of different parts, which was very fun. It worked out way better than I thought. So let's see what else. I like the show a lot too, because it gave the kids a lot of an opportunity to design their own costume. Which, because we don't have a ton of funds, we have no funds actually, really, more than for the rights. So it was cool because I was like, kids, let's design. We had been keeping a character journal. We had been keeping, what do we think our character would wear? And then these miraculous, fabulous costumes came to be, and that was really fun. So the kids had a lot of ownership in that. What else did we do? Sets, costumes. I don't know. It was just really fun. We had a lot of audience interaction. For that show, for the people that don't know, there's an audience spellers. We ended up casting those, but it was cool and really fun for the kids because each night they were different characters. So they were assigned to be something different. They had different characters they had to be. They dressed in different costumes and they had different words. They never knew the words they were going to get or in what order they were going to go in. So that was really fun. We kind of kept them on their toes too. So even though obviously they knew what the gist of what everything was going on. They didn't really know what was going to happen. And my brilliant friend, James Chrisman, told me about doing these read posters. So we did them, and they were freaking fabulous. So because we decided to do it in the library, I got together with the intermediate and proficient photography classes in our school, and they did an entire unit on the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. So they read the script in class, they listened to the music in class, and they literally designed the whole spelling bee, including these posters. They took these kids' pictures, they designed these read posters. It was awesome. So that was really cool. So those lined the auditorium. And then we got the National Art Honor Society kids involved, and they made honeycombs that dripped from the sides underneath the speakers. It was really cool.
That's cool.
I can't wait to send you a video.
I can't wait to see it. But what a great way to involve so many more kids and to make it bigger than it is. Because I mean, that show's fantastic small, but I can just imagine like the energy that it brought to those big numbers.
135 kids from Mallard Creek High School were involved in the show.
That's fantastic.
Every single kid in both of my technical theater classes were involved in painting and construction of the set, which was really, really cool because we actually did tools this year in my tech theater class. So they actually made stuff, which was amazing. So it was awesome. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
I'm really sad it's over. Actually, I miss it so much.
Talk to me about what have been a couple of the most impactful moments on you as a teacher in your career so far.
There's like 4 that are like sticking out. I'm trying to think. Okay, so I'll do a couple happy and a couple sad. One for sure happy was the other day I was standing in the sound booth during Putnam County, and I looked at my tech crew, and 2 of the kids that were running mics and sound, because I totally pulled what I like to call, I pulled a James Chrisman, and I did not run, talk, or operate a single thing during my musical. I sat in the audience and I watched. And I, during Tech Week, sat back and I looked at these 2 boys. One's a football player, the other's a basketball player, and they're in my tech class. And I looked at them interacting with the theater kids, the stage manager, and the other 2 kids that were sitting with them. And I just like welled up. I was like, oh my God. Finally, what I'm doing is making an impact. And it was so cool. And now I feel like I have lifelongers that actually like really enjoy themselves, and like they're coming to drama club now and like spreading the word, and they just really love it. And like they feel like they're VIP, and they walk in and they're like, what's the assignment today? I'm about to ace this. Like, and they're happy to be there. And it's like, I haven't had a moment like that in a while in my tech world. So that's been really good. Another impactful moment, I think, would be the students I have lost at South Point High School. Unfortunately, it has been 3, 4 too many. Even though there's been so many students that have been in the circle, the Weinsz circle, they still all are really important. And even if they were only there for a semester or a week, they're still really, they made a mark. So, and then me not being there to help support the others that had been impacted by what had happened was very difficult. So that was a happy, sad. And then another very happy. I'm not just saying this because I'm on your podcast, okay? I truly, 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 truly feel like I genuinely hit the jackpot somewhere. I don't even know what I believe in, but somewhere in the universe we were put together because we were meant to be. I've learned so much from you. My whole program is based around what you taught me. I wouldn't be where I am today without you. So yeah, there I am. There's me.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. That was very nice.
Well, it's true.
Nice. I appreciate that. And it's.
I mean, but the thing is there's great moments every day, and that's something to realize. And like, those are just things that are popping into my head at this current time.
Yeah, I
just
get that. Well, and that's what I'm gonna. I'll talk to your. I'm gonna go back to your sad moment for a second, because that's one of the hardest things to teach in what I'm doing now. Because my undergrads now want to know how they're going to deal with that. How am I going to help my students deal with that? What am I going to do when tragedy strikes? Or what if? And I'm like, the best answer I can give you is I don't know, because every time it's different, and that doesn't ever get easier. And I hate that that's the best answer I can give, but it is. And you have to let yourself go through that, and you have to let yourself, as a teacher, you have to give yourself a space to grieve. And because you can't always be strong for those kids.
You
as much as you want to be, you
yeah,
can't.
You definitely can't.
Yeah.
And it's okay to let your kids know you're sad too.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to. I don't know. I'm an emotional person, I guess. And people know when I'm upset. And I obviously quite can't hide it. But like, it's okay. Mm-hmm. It's okay to let your people and your kids and your family and the people that you're around, you might as well call your kids your family. You're with them every day, that you're sad too. And it's okay to feel that way. So I think a lot of times people think it's okay. It's not okay to feel that way, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's some stuff that, like I said, I don't know how to teach that yet. And if there are any other master teachers out there who know how to teach that, please contact me and let me know. So
contact me, and then Jimmy post some stuff about it. Okay, share it with us all, because I think, my God, I think I need it for myself.
Yeah, but kind of segueing into something else, kind of attached to that, but not. What's something that you wished you had known or learned before you started teaching, that your theater ed program in your undergrad couldn't have prepared you for?
Remember, my theater ed program was not a real theater ed program. Not like I didn't have a class on how to teach anything. And then when I got to my intern, or however people call it down here in the South, or what we call it in the North, the student teaching, mm-hmm. She said, okay, here you go, and then left, and I never saw her again. So I kind of, when I got to you, was kind of when I learned everything. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But no, student teaching was me really guiding myself, like with the standards in Ohio, and like with like learning just kind of how to guide myself. I didn't really have a methods class, in all honesty. So kind of
everything you wish you had known.
Everything. Yeah. I knew how to set up a lesson. Like, I had learned that in my education classes, knew how to set up a lesson, like new creative, artsy, fun things to do. But I never really had someone say to me like, hey, this is how you should start teaching a high school theater class, or, hey, like, here are the standards. Here's a way to chunk them so that you can establish this in year 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or even the concept that there is a 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's quite a difference in arts education in the North and the South. my school, I was the only student in Theater 3 and the only student in Theater 4. They offer those classes down here, and there are kids in those classes. They offer technical theater class. Like what? They don't offer that. I mean, unless it's a specialized art school, you don't find that. You didn't find that in Ohio. Maybe in New York. I mean, obviously in New York you would, but it's not really like you need to have it in your school type of thing like it is down here.
It ties into what I was talking to a colleague today about in music education at ISU. We were just talking about how it for me, it's really difficult to get placements for my students.
I believe
in full-time places. And for me, when I moved up here, that was a culture shock because you
could just go, here's some.
In North and South Carolina, every school, every elementary, every middle and high school has a theater program. Many elementaries do. So,
and high schools sometimes have too.
It's not difficult. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a breeze, but it's not difficult to find work when you come out with a degree and you're looking for a job in theater and teaching theater. But up here, it's very different, and I really want that to change. I mean,
absolutely. And no, it's my placement when I was in college, my placement was down the street. She only taught 2 theater classes. One was a beginning theater class. The other was a theater 2, 3, and IB all mixed together in one class.
Oh, I know.
And then she left the school the year after I left, and the closest theater program to my college was 30 minutes away. So they got rid of the major.
Wow. Well, we got to do something about that. We've got to influence those kids. We've got to give them a reason to. You send them to me, Sasha. We got to do something.
I'll send them. I'll send them all to your way, and I got some good ones too. Dang, they're wonderful.
I can't wait to see your DVD because I know you're doing amazing things there. I'm so proud of you.
I'm crying. I'm tearing up. They're fabulous. They're fabulous.
Okay, so tell me what is a resource that you're currently using that we must have?
Can you promise not to laugh at me?
Why would I laugh at you?
No, because this is like, I feel really addicted to it.
No, please tell me.
It's called Theater Teacher Lesson Lending.
Okay.
And it's a group on Facebook. And I kind of love it for the resource because they have like you files and like stuff that you can download. But I also love it because my school is so poor that I love watching all of these really rich schools complain about how they don't have enough money to do things that really rich schools can do. And I'm like, oh, I have an idea of how you can do it.
So I'll make sure in the show information that I put out that I put repeat it again. I don't want to say it wrong.
Theater Teacher Lesson Lending.
Do go ahead and tell us some ways we can follow what you're doing with your students and what you're doing, what your school's doing.
So if you want to follow the Mavericks, you can follow us on Instagram at MC Rep Theater or Mallard Creek Repertory Theater on Facebook. We are new, but we have lots of posts and we do a lot of crazy things. Yeah, that's where we post most of our stuff.
Well, good deal. Hopefully people will go check you out and maybe, who knows if this podcast takes off, maybe you'll get some extra audience members coming.
Oh my God, yes. Okay, it's going to.
Well, let's hope.
I have so many people I'm going to tell about it, and we need to get Bigley Baran on here. I'm just going to outsource you.
Please do. Please do.
And I have a tech theater person teacher I can get on here for you. He's really cool.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Please send them my way. I will put all the contact information at the end of the episode, and you've got my
Seriously.
information anyway, so you can put them in touch with me. So that'd be fantastic.
Okay,
Last
cool.
question for you.
Okay.
What are your parting words of wisdom to new teachers?
Don't give up, because it's very hard, but honestly, it's worth every second. And no matter the challenge, if you take a deep breath, there's always a solution.
Good words. Good words.
I feel really smart. That was a really good one.
That was good. I like it. I'll probably quote
It
that
was.
and put it in a picture on Instagram or something saying,
Oh my God, t-shirt.
we love a good t-shirt. We love a good t-shirt. Well, Sasha, thank you so much for joining me today. I love talking to you, and I wish you all the best with your program. And if you ever
can you have me on again just for fun?
Of course. Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us, and I'll talk with you soon. I would like to give a plug for a friend of mine who teaches high school theater in South Carolina. She has a podcast called The Pizza Play. She does that with her significant other, and it is all about the playwriting process. It's an interesting show. I enjoy it. I listen to it regularly, and I'm excited to see where these two take the pizza play that they have been working on. So check them out if you are interested in playwriting and the whole process of that, and conversations about current theater topics. Check out the Pizza Play podcast. We've had a wonderful time talking with Sasha today, so thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening. Show notes and the archives of the podcast are found on our website at thedtalks.com. You can find us on any of your podcast providers, Apple Podcasts on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, AnyPod, TuneIn. You can find us anywhere. So please go on any of your sites, subscribe to us, rate, review, and share the podcast. I want to make sure I give a special shout out to my former student Joel Hamlin and his best friend Josh Schusterman for their original music called Magnetize that he has so graciously allowed us to use on the show. So thank you guys for that. Thanks again for joining us, and I look forward to next time. Take care.